Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit and this is the Yamaha Fascino. Now, a year back we did a very comprehensive review of this scooter and you might be wondering as to what we are doing with this scooter again so early. But Yamaha have tried to keep up with the changing game in the 125cc segment, and now they have added some additional features and a smart motor generator, which is basically what Yamaha is calling a hybrid tech on this scooter, and that has resulted in slightly more torque and some different characteristics in terms of performance. So let's try and quickly sum up all of the new things that have been put on this new vehicle, and let's start with the design. Now, in essence, the styling of the scooter remains the same. The wheelbase is the same. The chrome elements that are so characteristic of the Fascino are still the same. Everything else is the same. However, some new features have now been incorporated, and unlike before, now this scooter gets an LED lighting setup, and we complained about this last time. Seems like Yamaha have answered our prayers, and as you can see, there is this DRL element here, and on top you have the low beam, and on the lower side of this triangular looking headlamp unit you have the high beam. So that's one important inclusion on the new setup. Apart from that, the tail light on the scooter also is now a proper LED unit, and as you can see, this tail lamp is a proper LED unit now. Apart from that, as I mentioned, there's a smart motor generator, there's a hybrid system here. So what that smart motor generator does is it works as a motor for power assist, and how that has helped is it has significantly reduced any judder or shudder that you experience while you're starting the scooter from a standstill. So you would have noticed that on the scooter transmission systems, what happens is when you start off from a standstill, sometimes there's a little bit of a judder, so that judder is completely absent from this scooter. Now, about the SMG, another thing that you need to know is that the SMG kicks in when you start off the scooter, and it cuts off 3 seconds after you start off or when you roll back the throttle. So the SMG essentially helps the scooter's initial pickup and prevents the judder, which basically happens when you have no RPM and no power hitting the rear wheel. So it essentially helps take off in a smoother manner, and while you're going up the ramps, it somewhat helps the scooter. And another important change now is that the mid revs of the scooter are significantly stronger. So you can feel a difference in the way the scooter accelerates between 30 and 65 kmph. So there is a perceptible difference in the roll-on acceleration of this scooter, although the top speed is still the same. It's still about 95 kilometers per hour on the speedo if you find a long enough flat with some tailwind. The real world top speed would be about 85-86 kmph, along with a very low curb weight of the scooter, which is only 99 kgs. Thankfully, the weight has not increased at all. It's still very low. In fact, it's the lowest in the segment, and by some margin. For example, the newly launched Jupiter is about 108 kgs, and the Activa is 110 kg plus the Ntorq is 118 kgs. So in that sense, this is a very light scooter, and it is the lightest, which makes sure that this has the best power to weight ratio, and which also translates in a fantastic fuel efficiency figure. This scooter boasts one of the highest fuel efficiency figures in the segment, and that again is one of the things which adds to its appeal. Now, another important change that has been made to this scooter is that earlier there was only an analog instrument console here. Now a digital instrument console like the one on the Raze ER has been introduced here, although I would have really wanted this instrument console to have fuel efficiency related data like distance to empty or average fuel efficiency. That is still not there. However, if you go to see, it comes with a tachometer, which really is not required, but it's been given. There's a speedo, there's a trip meter, there's an odo, there's a fuel gauge, and apart from that you have some basic telltale lights. You have the turn indicator, you have a high beam indicator, you have an auto stop start system for which you have a light here. You have an eco mode indicator, which basically comes on if you're not ringing the throttle too hard, and then you have an engine malfunction light as well. The rest of the switchgear is similar to what it was before. You have an engine start stop button, you have this button to turn the lights on, then you have this silent start system which turns the engine on in the most silent manner possible. Let's have a listen to the exhaust as well. So it's not very throaty, but still decent. For a scooter segment, we don't expect much, but in that sense, TVS scooters have a very throaty, very bassy exhaust. On the left hand side, you have a high beam, low beam button which is integrated with the pass switch, and you have the turn indicators along with the horn. So that has not changed, but as you just saw, I engaged the side stand and the engine was cut off, so it also comes with an engine inhibitor for the side stand. One small thing about the dimensions, this scooter has among the longest wheelbases in this segment. Except for the Ntorq, this scooter has the longest wheelbase including the newly launched Jupiter. So it's a very stable scooter in a straight line. Even while you're going around corners or cutting through the traffic, it feels very planted. The seat height is about 775 mm, which means that even the short riders should not have a problem. My height being 5 feet 10 inches, I can easily rest my heels on the ground even with a solid bend in my knees. So in terms of the accessibility, this scooter is pretty good. Now this does come with a twist to open seat which would reveal an underseat storage of about 21 liters, which is par for the course for most other scooters in the segment. However, with the introduction of the Jupiter, which has 32 liters of boot space, that game has now changed, and now if you want more underseat storage, you might want to look at the Jupiter. The fuel tank capacity is slightly above 5 liters. So the 5-liter fuel capacity is the exact usable fuel. You don't have to reserve any fuel there, and all of those 5 liters will be usable. The grab rail is very large, very usable, very practical, and the exhaust here is more or less the same as the Razor, although the heat shield here is a little bit different. Now one thing about the wheels here are the same as before, and with the 12 inches up front, 10 inches at the rear, you don't get the biggest wheels on the Fascino. If you look at the Jupiter or even the Ntorq, you get 12-inch wheels both up front and at the rear, and we really would have appreciated had Yamaha also adopted the same wheel sizes because it does have its bearing on the way a scooter handles. In terms of tires, this scooter gets a 90 section front tire and a 110 section rear tire, and both the tires here are Maxxis. The ground clearance here is 145 mm. With two up riding over more vicious bumps, there is a chance of the belly scraping, so that is one department where this scooter can definitely do better, and we really would have appreciated had that ground clearance had been improved a little bit, because the other scooters in the segment do offer slightly better ground clearance. Another omission is a charger, which is available only as an option, and while other people are giving a USB charger as a standard fitment, here you will have to go for it as an option, although that is available if you so wish. Now in addition to whatever I have told you, this unit also gets Bluetooth connectivity, and this was absent before, it's available now. And while you do get Bluetooth connectivity, there are some features missing. However, the features that you get here can be availed by using the Yamaha Connect X app, and the features are answer back, locate your vehicle, riding history, parking record and hazard. Now we would have also liked it to have turn-by-turn navigation, which seems to be absent here, and seems like you cannot also listen to music by using this Bluetooth system. So these are the two things that probably would have better been included. Now in terms of the engine here is the same unit as before, and it's powered by the same 125cc engine. However, with the inclusion of the smart motor generator hybrid system, for the ones which have the hybrid system, the torque has gone up by 0.6 Newton meters, and while on the standard variant the torque was 9.7 Newton meters, the scooters with the SMG system now have a torque of 10.3 Newton meters. In terms of power, the power remains unchanged and it's rated at 8.2 PS. The peak power is produced at 6,500 RPM and the peak torque is produced at 4,500 RPM. Putting things in perspective, the newly launched Jupiter 125 produces slightly more torque at 10.5 Newton meters, which also is more or less the best torque in the segment, and it produces slightly better power also at 8.3 PS. So power and torque is more or less the same. However, we believe that the fuel efficiency here is very mildly better. The fuel efficiency on the Jupiter also is very good, but overall, owing to the lower weight and the SMG system, the fuel efficiency here is slightly better, and you will get upwards of 65 kmpl on this scooter if you're driving with a light right wrist. and within the city the fuel efficiency can easily be 50 to 55 even if you're riding in a slightly spirited manner. Now in terms of the advantages of the SMG, you can clearly feel that there is no judder when you start the scooter. It feels very smooth. It's completely vibe free throughout its rev range. It's very efficient, very easy to maneuver, being a light scooter even for the ladies or the shorter or the not so well built amongst you. It's very easy to move it back and forth, to maneuver it within a tight spot, because the weight here is very less. So in that sense it has its advantage. Also in terms of performance, has the SMG made any difference? Well, we believe that in terms of performance, the difference from a standing start is perceptible only while you're reaching 20-30 kilometers per hour, but you can definitely feel a difference in the roll-on acceleration of the scooter, and it feels particularly strong between 40 to 60-65 kilometers per hour. Beyond that, once you reach 65-70 kilometers per hour, the performance starts tapering off, and beyond 75-76 kilometers per hour, the progress to the rest of the 10 kilometers per hour, which is the top speed of 85 kilometers per hour, the progress is rather plateaued and it takes its own sweet time. It's a good scooter for the city, and on the highway also you can sustain top speed of 75 to 80 kilometers per hour true, which would translate into a speedo indicated speed of about 85 to 88 kilometers per hour, and the speed that you'll see on the speedo, not the true speed, would be about 95 kilometers per hour. The true top speed is about 85. Now a word about the suspension. I really believe that the suspension on this scooter can be slightly more soft. It's not completely uncomfortable, but it's slightly on the firm side. Also at the rear suspension, I don't see any adjustability, which is a bit of a bummer. I really believe that had the suspension been adjustable, the slightly firm ride could probably have been compensated for. So preload adjustment is not there, and while this scooter rides well on smooth surfaces or even on undulations, when it's passing over ridges, broken surfaces, broken patches of the road where the edges are very sharp, you do feel vertical movement and it does feel a little bit jittery. It does settle down a little bit with a pillion rider, but overall the ride quality on broken patches could probably have been a little bit softer. There is no complaint in terms of handling. The braking is more than sufficient too. This comes with the unified braking system, which is basically Yamaha speak for combi braking system, where both the brakes are applied. Even if you apply only the rear brake, the front brake is also applied. So it comes with unified braking system. However, if you look at the other scooters in the segment like the Ntorq, even the XS or the Jupiter, the brakes there are bigger and they come to a halt in a slightly more reassuring manner. So while the brakes are competent, they are more than sufficient for the class, they are not the best. Also about the tires are more than sufficient in dry conditions, and for the most part there won't be any problem riding this scooter unless you're riding in wet conditions and trying to go too fast around corners. Now about the seat, I really believe that the seat could probably have been better contoured, and the slope here isn't the most conducive for a comfortable long distance riding. You tend to slope forward and it's not the most comfortable riding positions for this kind of a scooter. The seat also isn't the longest in the segment. The Access and Jupiter both have longer seats. Although the seat for the pillion is sufficiently long and it's quite wide, it's easy to get on. The grab rails are very usable, it's well cushioned. So I'm not complaining per se. All I'm saying is that in this segment you have scooters which have slightly more comfortable seats, which are longer too, and combined with the fact that they come with softer suspension also, the overall experience becomes slightly better. Another small thing that you'd do well to notice is there is a hook right here, but there is no hook available here, and if you want to go for a hook here, that is available as an accessory and you can go for a hook here. The floorboard here has sufficient space for your feet. However, if you want to be putting a cylinder, which generally is a question that you guys ask us, that feature is not available. Also, as you would have seen, there is no external fuel filler cap here, so that is another omission. That feature should probably have been there, especially now because the Jupiter comes with a front fuel filler cap. So on that scooter you don't even have to get off or do anything, you just have to twist the key and you can open the fuel filler cap up front and very conveniently refill. Now the disc variant of this scooter comes in 9 colors, while the drum variant comes in 7 colors. This scooter will also come with a 2-year standard plus 3 years extended warranty. So if you're looking for value, great fuel efficiency, maneuverability, lightweight and a great style, the Fascino is quite a distinctive scooter. The kind of styling that it has speaks for itself. It's a primarily female centric scooter. So if you're looking for something which is flowy, very curvy, has tons of chrome splattered all around it and makes a statement, the Fascino still holds its own and has a character of its own, and it comes at a price which is very lucrative. Now just to put things in perspective, Yamaha's very own Raze ER is also about 1,000 rupee more than the Fascino. The Jupiter 125's top variant is about 2,500 rupees more than the scooter. The Access 125 is about 4,000 rupees more than the scooter, and the Activa 125 is also about 1,500 rupees more than the scooter in the top trims. Only the Hero Destiny is slightly less expensive than the scooter, but we would rate this scooter definitely a lot higher than the Destiny. So all in all, it's a great value scooter, looks fantastic. And to quickly sum up its pros and cons, it's stylish, it's low cost, it's got great maneuverability, it's very lightweight, it's quick off the block and offers very good acceleration. It's probably the most fuel efficient scooter in the segment, comes with auto start stop, has a decent amount of boot space. However, on the negative side, this doesn't have an average efficiency or fuel stats on the instrument console. Floorboard length is a little less, rear suspension not adjustable, the seat is not the best, and the charger here is optional. You also don't get an external fuel filler cap here. So guys, that was my understanding of the new Yamaha Fascino. From a value perspective, stylistic perspective, from a maneuverability perspective, I really believe that this scooter is fantastic, and Yamaha's build quality is very well known. So this scooter is definitely going to last you a very long time. And I really hope that I was able to answer all your questions about this scooter, which has been presented in a slightly new avatar. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Motoroids. Do not forget to press the bell icon, and always press the always option when you press the bell icon. If you like our long format detailed reviews, do not forget to put Motoroids in your searches. Do share our videos with your friends through Facebook and WhatsApp. Let the people be aware of the kind of quality content that we make. And until next time, this is Amit Chhangani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and ride safe.